healing is finished. Listen, if you jump the school of the spirit, if you jump classes in the school of the spirit, the class that you jump, you will pay for it with your failure in the future. In the secular, you can jump classes and read up during an exam and just write and pass. But in the school of the spirit, every class has a destiny implication, and you must submit yourself. One class can take you 2 weeks to complete. Another class can take you 5 years to complete. Are we blessed tonight? The throne room gives us a picture of how things happen in heaven, and everything in heaven, as you know by now, reflects God and different dimensions of him. Everything in heaven is a reflection of the glory of God. The angels, the living creatures, the elders, the splendor, the excellence, everything in heaven speaks of the glory of God. And it's interesting that among the many features in heaven are a set of beings that the Bible calls the 4 living creatures. Have you read that in scripture? For a long time I wondered what those guys were doing in heaven there. I presume that there may be a class of angels or cherubs, as one of the accounts let us know that they are a class of cherubims. But what they are there for exactly, I didn't understand for a very long time. Revelation chapter 4 and verse 1. Contained in the mystery of the 4 living creatures is the course curriculum of the training of witnesses. If you understand the mystery of these creatures that stand before God, then you will know how to stand before God as a faithful witness. There is no record that the witnesses sit. They always stand before God. They present themselves before God. Revelation chapter 4, please. We'll read verse 1 down to 7. Please pay attention. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. The first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking to me, which said, come up hither, and I will show you the things that must be after. We're reading to 7, verse 2. Immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat upon the throne. 3. And he that sat was to look upon like jasper and sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. He's describing the throne now. And round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. Verse 5 now. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which were the 7 spirits of God. Verse 6 now. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal, and in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. 7. The first of that beast or that creature was like a lion. Pay attention. John is describing his sight now. And the second beast was like a calf. And the third beast had the face as a man. And the 4th beast was a flying eagle. Ezekiel in chapter 1 had the same experience, even though his description, you know, there was a little difference, but basically he was talking about what we have come to know as the 4 living creatures. These 4 scriptures, these 4 living creatures were they were interesting creatures, and for a long time it bothered me. What would these kinds of supposedly ugly creatures be doing before God? I thought there should be better creatures that should be looking at God. The elders were not even before him. But these 4 creatures, having the face of a lion for one, having the face of a calf for the other, having the face of a man, and then having the face of a flying eagle. And then I would later learn that those 4 living creatures represent the different dimensions that every believer must pass through in order to attain stature and maturity. Those 4 living creatures represent the school of the Spirit. These are the dimensions that you must be trained in to be able to stand before God as a living witness and as a man of stature. We're talking about the making of witnesses. Number 1, the face of the lion. The lion here very quickly talks about